everyone, thanks so much for being here. My name is Kat and I make houseplant videos here on Good and Planty. I got my hair done. Nobody talk about it yet. I don't know how I feel about it. But yeah, there's blonde in my hair now. Okay, so clearly we are not in my usual apartment. I feel like that's a common theme recently. I am in my mom's home. I'm cat sitting for the week. Maybe he'll come say hi at some point. Obviously, I don't have a lot of my own plants and everything like that. I don't have much of my equipment. So I figured that this was a good week, especially after my recent hiatus, to just kind of sit down and chat a little bit. I did ask for questions on my Instagram story. Thank you to everyone that submitted a question. Today, we're just gonna sit down and have a nice cozy little Q&A session. It's like super fall, autumny, perfect energy, and I love it. So we are just going to jump right into it. As a warning, a lot of these questions are like more personal leaning. They're not really super planty questions, so this is gonna be a very chit-chatty video, and a lot of them, I was surprised, kind of surrounded my move to New York. So if you're curious about that kind of stuff, you'll get tons of answers today. First question: any new hobbies or interests lately? To be honest, no. I think the newest change in my life recently has been just kind of keeping to myself a bit more, staying in, which is kind of funny. Like, I moved to New York and suddenly I'm this huge introvert, but I feel like in Philly I was forced to be an introvert because it's so hard to get around and do things and meet people. But in New York, it's more of my decision. Like, it's there if I want it, all of the noise and ruckus. But inside, I've just been hanging out, refocusing on YouTube, and I've been reading a lot, which is really nice. I haven't read this much in a while, so I'm very happy to be back on my reading kick, and I've talked a little bit about that. Again, I'm always open to book recommendations. It sounds like The Silent Patient was a heavy recommendation for me and what I was looking for, so that is probably gonna be one of my next books, so thank you if you sent that along to me. Favorite thing about New York City so far? I feel like I've enjoyed a lot, honestly, from the move, even though it's kind of recent. My favorite thing is definitely the reason that I moved there, which is to be closer to my family and my friends. To visit my mom's house, it's just a train ride out, whereas before I had to do this whole thing on public to see my mom. So this is very accessible to me now. I have a little nature-y getaway. My friends mostly all live in New York, so that's a big relief. Everybody is more accessible to me now. I have like my people. That has been so nice. Philly was so isolating for me. I just kind of knew that this change had to happen. It did, and it feels really right. I also do appreciate that I've spent so much time in New York before moving there that by the time I moved there, it wasn't like a huge transition to me. It just sort of felt right and less exhausting than constantly traveling between Philly and New York. Those are definitely my favorite things, just being around the people that I love and not spending all my time and money on Megabus. Okay, we do have a plant question. Why is there mold growing in my soil? I think that this is the only plant question I got, and that is probably just like a natural side effect of having soil. There's tons of organic matter in soil, which is good. That's where the nutrients come from within your soil. The white stuff that you'll see forming on top of your soil, typically that's completely harmless. If it's bothering you, you can just break it apart a little bit with like a skewer, stick, something like that, and water over it. And that's happened to me plenty of times, happened to pretty much anyone that's owned a plant. Sometimes you'll even get mushrooms, which shocked me the first time. I was like, how are mushrooms growing in my soil right now? But it's really just because soil has organic matter in it, and that's its own kind of ecosystem, and things are happening with that. So don't worry about it. You can get rid of it, and don't stress about the mold in your soil. What are some of your favorite plant shops in New York? Oh my God, such a fun question. I actually haven't been able to explore the plant shop scene that much in New York, but I have reached out to a few plant shops, and I am hoping, it sounds like we'll be able to film some video tours with them. Hopefully, maybe do some kind of event situation, giveaways, stuff like that. So I'm very new to the houseplant scene in New York. I don't have a favorite as of yet, but I am definitely starting to put my feelers out and hopefully get to know the plant world in New York a bit better. So I'm very excited for that. I think it'll be really fun for not only me, but you guys. Once I have like my top picks, I'll definitely let you all know, because one thing I'm finding, as comfortable, like I feel very at home in a plant shop or a nursery, like that is, I feel so comfortable and at home there, no matter if it's new to me or not. But even so, like knowing so much about plants and all of that, I still find New York to be very overwhelming simply because there are just so many options. I'm right there with you if you are in the same boat or you're visiting New York and want to see a plant store. Hopefully over time, as I kind of peek around the city a bit, I'll be able to come up with like maybe a guide or something for plant stores in New York. How hard was it to move to New York City? In parentheses, finding a place to live, etc. For me, I feel like I lived a very rare situation, a huge anomaly. Like the story of me moving to New York is ridiculously like lucky, I think. Basically, I think we are in September, and I believe it was in July where I just had a wake-up call. I was like, Philly is not working for me. I am not happy here. Crazy idea that I said to, I think like my friend and my mom. I was like, what if I moved to New York at some point? Like just kind of just said it, like wasn't set in stone, had no tangible plans at all about it. Just kind of like said it to say it and see how it sat. Before I know it, my friend that I had shared with sent me a sublet situation through someone that I kind of knew through that friend. So we had a bit of a rapport. The apartment was great. It was perfect. It was within my price range. The big bonus of this is like technical and kind of boring, but the big bonus of this sublet was I didn't have to do any applications off the rip. I could just like move in and then apply once the sublet ran up. So that's what I did. And then I sold all of my furniture pretty much. I got rid of a lot of my plants. I'm using that money to pay for like all of the boring security deposits, application fees, all that stuff. And then my mom and her fiance shipped up the few things I had left in 2 cars and we drove to New York. So me speaking that into existence and me actually moving to New York happened within like a month and a half, I want to say, maybe even like a month. It was kind of wild. My life suddenly just turned upside down, but once it started moving, oh my god, and then there was this whole thing because I had to find a sublet for my apartment, which was a disaster. Luckily, I found a really great girl to take over the apartment for now. Yeah, it was all at once. It was so fast. It was very overwhelming, but once it started happening, I knew in my gut it was the right thing. Getting an apartment within your budget in New York is borderline impossible right now, and I just felt like this beautiful apartment with great roommates just fell into my lap at the moment I had kind of expressed a desire to move to New York, and it just felt like a sign and I couldn't pass it up. And I'm really happy I didn't. I think it was totally the right move for me. I think it's all about timing and luck. That's how I moved to New York. What do you do for work outside of YouTube? Oh my gosh, someone cares about my life. Let me sip this so it's not just for show. Look how cute these cups are that my mom has. She's so cute. So outside of YouTube, I've talked about this before. I will keep it short and sweet, but I work in digital marketing. I work in-house for a grocery store. It just pays my bills. I keep that part of my life very separate from this part of my life. Marketing's fun because it gives me like a lot of freedom. It's a nice cross between creative and analytical work, I would say, and you can work for some really cool companies if you're lucky. I kind of fell into marketing. That was not what I went to college for. I went to college for entertainment and arts management, which basically means I can work with like artists or go on tours or work at like nonprofit performing arts companies. And it was a really cool major, but I ended up doing some marketing internships at performing arts companies and then rode that into for-profit. This is so boring. But yeah, now I'm in marketing. The thing that I really value about my day job is that it helped me tremendously in building Good Implant Tea, and I don't think I would have been as successful as I was building out this channel and making it like a somewhat steady revenue income stream for me if I didn't have my marketing background. I am very grateful for my work, but I do hope that I can switch it up now that I'm in New York. What tattoo might you get next? I love that question. I actually just got this is my newest one. It's a 7. I got that. I know this wasn't the question, but I just want to talk about it. I got it when I was in LA recently. I had wanted my childhood dog, the one, if you watch my channel, that the Dracaena plant I got in his honor. His name was Lucky. I always wanted to get some kind of tattoo to honor him, but for me personally, I just like didn't want a dog just tattooed on me. I kind of wanted something that was symbolic of luck, but nothing was really jumping out at me. And then someone told me maybe a lucky 7 with some dye or something like that, and that stuck out. And when I was in LA, I was at a little, I think it was like a flea market, and this tattoo artist had a place set up, so I showed her the 7 and she was able to do it for me. She was awesome. I got this semi recently, so I have like a little bit of my tattoo itch scratch, but I've definitely been thinking about what to do next, and I think I would either get something here to just finish this arm, and I don't know what it would be yet. I have a few ideas. Also, less fun is I have a tattoo behind my ear of 2 flowers. It's me and my sister's birth flowers like crossed. Well, it's also my brother's birth flower. It is not aging well. It's whatever, blurred out, I don't know the word, but it's just not looking too hot back there, and I love all of my tattoos so much that I don't like having one that I don't like. I've been teasing maybe getting like a cover up or a touch up or something, but I haven't found an artist that kind of like clicked with me or does cover-ups. I'm kind of struggling to figure that out, especially now that I'm in New York and not in Philly, because in Philly it's a bit easier to kind of weed out, you know, the tattoo artists you want, the nail people you want, because there's less, but in New York it's so saturated, I get super overwhelmed. And I don't know if it's like the person who did it's fault or if that's just a bad spot that fades over time, but I want to fix it. Okay, how tall are you? This question always cracks me up, because you really never know how tall the people you are watching are. I remember watching Q&As and people answering that and being like, you're that short or that tall? I'm almost 5'8". I won't take the 5'8" mark, but I'm almost 5'8", so I am a tall girl, and I do like a heel sometimes, so I can be kind of up there in the clouds. And I'm curious if I give tall or short energy, so let me know. That's a selfish question. Oh, and then the same person said, can you say hi Beth for my girlfriend who loves plants? So I don't know if Beth watches my channel at all, but hi Beth. Thanks for watching, which is sweet. Next question, are you still feeling YouTube burnout, or are you starting to get excited about YouTube again? I appreciate that question so much, because this obviously comes from someone who's been watching my channel for a while. I posted a while ago at this point about YouTube burnout, if you haven't seen that video, where I just kind of explained how it's hard to be in such a niche on YouTube after such a big boom of content within the niche, because like during COVID, houseplants got really popular and that helped me grow my channel a lot. But at the same time, I feel like I fell into a rut where I was either creating unique content that just wasn't gaining traction, or I went with like more mainstream topics, like top 5 kind of top 5 plants or worst plants to buy. And those videos would do fairly well, but they weren't original, and like those ideas I would just run through so fast. I did reach a bit of burnout in that way. And then I had so many life changes happen recently that although I was kind of spiritually, emotionally back in and invested into Good and Planty, I just physically like didn't have the time to do the things I wanted to do. Luckily now I feel reinvigorated to get back into it. I feel like me taking that time and moving to New York and kind of having like a fresh scene to play with is super good for me and the channel. You know, I think my content is going to shift a lot now that I don't have as many houseplants. Like I have 10 houseplants. That's not a lot to run a whole houseplant channel on, but I think I'm gonna start using the city to my advantage, just making content that's a bit more organic to what my life looks like now. And that's been exciting to me. Last week I had like a nightmare week. I had to go back to Philly for work. I had this Airbnb crisis, whatever, and my mood was really low, and I felt like I had just come back to YouTube. I just started to get back on schedule. I had to pump out some kind of video, and I posted a video, it was a vlog, and it was just a mess. If you saw it, like, I'm sorry, like, it was just not a great video. Someone even commented, like, this was chaos, and, like, you're right. So I archived it because it was just not, it just didn't feel, like, I wasn't happy with the video. It wasn't doing well. I solely just posted it to, like, keep up with the algorithm, and I didn't like that. There was a video up last week that I took down, but other than that, I am back on it, and I might like use this house to my advantage, and just, I'm like here alone with good lighting, so I might as well vlog in here. All of that rant to just be like, I'm happy I'm back. I feel like content is gonna slowly start coming back to me, and you all have been wonderful and supportive and patient, so thank you, and that really helps me keep up with YouTube as well. Do you have a new job in Brooklyn? I do not. Please, anyone hiring in marketing or plants in New York or remote, hit me up. I'm like, this is another problem, is I'm very much juggling reaching out to plant brands to collaborate with me for Good and Planty, but also reaching out to plant brands for me to like work and like make a salary with. I feel like I can't hit up one plant company for both things. So I'm like trying to teeter that out. So I would love to pivot my career into like marketing for a houseplant company or styling or something like that. I don't know, I'm with my same job, I'm doing the same thing, but I am on the hunt. The job market sucks right now. Okay, last question is actually for my new roomie, so thanks for supporting the girls. Regret leaving behind any of your plants? Yeah, someone else asked me this question as well. There's a few plants that I still think about. For example, my massive, like, over 5 foot tall micans. I miss her so much. I miss my Hoya carnosa compacta. There's some plants that I have thought about, but I am very content with the plants that I do have now, and I think I did a good job consolidating my collection for the move. So I'm trying not to look back, and I have my eye on a few plants to buy in the future. So no regrets, but there is definitely a lot of sadness in getting my collection down to like 10 from 75, over 100 at one point. I have gotten used to saying goodbye to plants, but I do miss a lot of them, especially the ones that I've had since they were babies and like watched grow so much. But yeah, those are all my questions. We got super chatty today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna take, because nothing irks me more than when someone does a Q&A, and I do this all the time, and then we're like, okay, we'll make it cute, we'll drink some tea together, and then I personally always forget to touch the bev. We actually drank tea today. Huge thank you for watching. Huge thank you to everyone that sent me questions on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, I will put it here and you can participate in future videos. I really appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!